This is kind of a fun craft. A little curious. Oh, Calamitous and Marsh. Dude, hit veteran defender. Bruh. We still got it. Whew. Still got it. Woo. Still got it. Dude, that cost me like 5 or it cost me like 10C or something. Like that. Hey there, everybody. What's up? It's New. We are here with a build update video. And I think we're closing in on day 4 right now, so it's about time I got this out for you. A lot of you requested that. This build a lot of fun. This Abyssal Frostblades, Blind Prophet, kind of glassy. Definitely on paper more tanky than it feels in maps. So that would kind of surprise me, but I'm just used to playing ranged. I'm used to playing characters that got way less defense on paper, but definitely seem to outperform if you can, pilot the character well. So a lot of growing pains with this build, but it is really satisfying. I love mapping with it, and especially having kind of gotten through those growing pains, its performance is quite good now. Even in tier 17, and I didn't even really try to do tier 17 for quite some time, but this is me unlocking my 5th Scarab slot. So I realized I wanted to start doing some legit strats, actually start using some fragments, fill up the whole slot there. And as you can see in the background, the mapping side of things, really, really good. Even the bossing wasn't that bad. I didn't have to switch to Hateful Accuser or Lightning Strike. Was still able to do some pretty good damage there, even without like great shotgunning or return projectiles kind of all hitting at once. But yeah, we're going to talk about a lot of things. Talk about how the build feels, some things I might have changed, how things turned out, expectation, perception versus reality, that kind of stuff as far as build's concerned. And then I'll do a showcase on a tier 16 map, and we'll talk about some more stuff, more strategy related, because I figure you guys want to hear about that too. All right, let's begin here in game. We'll go over my gear real quick, and you can kind of compare and see where I'm at based on the guide's suggestions on the Abyssal gear setup. It is basically complete. Don't have a 2-socketed Abyss gloves, but other than that, it's pretty good. As you can see, I don't have a whole lot of currency to my name. I've been investing quite a bit into recombinating idols, which honestly hasn't gone very well. I think 5 or 6 fails in a row, and nothing to show for it. But fortunately, I am pretty good at setting up live searches and sniping good ones anyway. So you're gonna see I got some pretty good idols. Not best in slot, not even close. But yeah, we'll get to that a little later. First off, we got Paradoxica. Better than average RNG here. I had to unveil 2 of them. I bought them veiled because I realized I could probably sell them and had high. I know my odds for hitting what I wanted, and I felt like the odds were better based on the unveiled price versus the final price. And this is the best mods here with unveiling %fizz with blind. You can do poison or bleed, that's fine, but blind is really great because, obviously it improves your evasion and chance to hit very well. You can overcome that on a Abyssal Jewel or a tattoo to a lesser extent, a much lower roll, but should be fine. And then attack speed either with Blood Rage or stats being the best. I did divine this once because it was an absolute abysmal divine first time I hit, so that was really nice. And the first one I attempted to do hit, I think, % damage with poison and then crit multi when near a unique enemy. I think I sold that back for like the price that I paid for it anyway on the unveil, because I mean it's not terrible. So pretty good idea to buy them at the unveil price if it still remains the same as it was. They were about 100 chaos a piece at the time, I think. Let's go over to this shield. This is kind of an interesting one, and I saw this coming. I figured that there would probably be some ROG shields that would come up. This is most definitely a shield produced by ROG, or some means like that, because I mean it's just all tier 1, just amazing affixes, but nothing really screams amazing shield on this. It's just a bunch of like a weird combination of mods, but they just happen to be extremely good for me. I didn't expect to get a tier 1 chance to block, but gonna have that instead of evasion. I figured I'd just get evasion, but we're gonna go this route, I guess. And yeah, that's really nice. I do like the life regen roll there, even though it's not that desirable. I like it because it helps offset Blood Rage quite a bit. So that was sniped for really cheap. I don't even remember what it was. I think maybe 1 divine or something. Incredible shield for that price. Don't even need a benchcraft. Usually a benchcraft attack speed on it, but don't even need to. Fury Valve came in pretty early. I need to change the anoint on this now because I have tattoos covering this, but yeah, it's well-rolled Fury Valve. I was able to get this pretty early. Rings are also kind of a live search snipe business going on here. This one on the right is more or less the real one. Yeah, this one's pretty good. The one on the left, however, is just kind of a placeholder. I was using Gratis Signet, which I think is over here. Yeah, I was using this, but I realized that, you know, that kind of puts a lot of hurt on covering your bases on all the resistances and the accuracy and you know, stuff like that. So I could switch this back in, maybe now, but I do like having the extra accuracy and chaos damage, and the flat damage is still pretty good too. It can kind of help make up for Intimidate. I really like this ring. It makes a lot of sense to use it in this build, but it's not bringing that much value, so yeah, I ended up switching back. I guess it's all Abyssal gear from there. Okay, so we'll start with the gloves. I'm doing exact gloves that I mentioned I would do, except that they're just one Abyssal socket. But yeah, it's Rage and Fortify. Yep, pretty simple. Boots, similar story. Got well rolled here. I paid a lot for these. I paid 6 divines for these. I knew that they were amazingly rolled at the time, so I paid like double what you'd normally pay, just for like almost perfect rolls. Perfect rolls for what I care about. The helmet was a really cheap one, and it was very easy to get this one, 2 sockets. And the chest, the chest took me a while, a little longer than expected, but we got it, and yeah, we got the 4-link, Frostblade, Trinity, added Cold, and Multi-Strike is in there, just as expected, I think. Bone Chill and Innervate went that route on this up here. We got Smite, Whirling Blades, we'll talk about that in a little bit. Immortal Call, Blood Rage here, no Tornado. And mark on hit Assassination, Life Tap, because, you know, Life Tap will be removed and I'll have to suffer the mana issues. When I get the second one, that won't be a big deal. And then Wrath and Haste, so kind of all expected. We got Quicksilver, Amethyst, Silver, Jade, and then I need to get a better Tincture. That was one thing I needed to do. Currently level 94 with quite a few deaths, 257. Honestly, had like 70 or something before I even really reached the end game. So that was kind of alarming. Talking about those growing pains. 350,000 monster kills. I don't know, I AFK a bunch, but anyway, 2 days played. Had to do some work, wasn't able to play as often as I wanted to. It's one of the reasons why I delayed a little bit, because I kind of wanted to wait until the build was nicely fleshed out so I could talk about it, you know, and in the right frame of mind, having the full experience of it. I think as far as passives are concerned, a lot of this is the same. I do not have 2 separate cluster spots. What an amazing, amazing RNG on slamming this. That was really nice. I have 3 extra points here that I didn't take normally, and I have 4 extra points here that I didn't take normally. That's where the points went. So it happens that the stun mastery works really well, but the main concern there is that before I decided to anoint Fury Bolts and path all the way up around here and up here and then all the way up here to get ballistics. This is before tattoos, but now tattoos are much more readily available, so I was able to pull all that stuff out and then you know, begin the whole cluster setup. So definitely recommend anybody in the process to begin with the, you know, the before the Abyssal gear, before the cluster jewels, to do this pathing all the way at the back end here, get some nice strength and intelligence, the ballistics, and then anoint Fury Bolts. I think I will anoint, what's this over here? Again, Aggressive Bastion. I'll have to think about it. I'm actually halfway contemplating anointing this right here, Winter's Embrace, because I use this on my Elemental Hit of the Spectrum Warden, and I mean, it was overkill for that class, but this would really, really help. Like just freezing everything, much more reliable. Like on the legions, the second they pop, the bosses, any, you know, soul leaders are still alive, you know, that kind of stuff. It's really strong defensive layer. I'm sitting here as in the minds of a glass cannon bow build player, and my character's not quite as tanky as I thought it would be. Starting to use that knowledge that I have. You know, what other means, what other real powerful defensive layers can I get that don't necessarily show up on paper? That would be a really good one. Okay, we got the Militant Faith, went with resistances there instead of damage for now, but yeah, everything's good. I got the 140% projectile speed, just need 4 tattoos, and if I get 4 more tattoos, then yeah, that's what I need to do. I need to get 4 more tattoos, and that way I can change the anoint. Hideout damage is 191,000. I don't think that, I'm not sure if that calculates like penetration. Definitely doesn't on Light Poacher or anything like that. So in actual mapping content, it's way higher. And as far as leveling is concerned, you know, it was all right. I tried Cobra Lash for the first time, and I swapped over at Act 3, as I suggested in the guide. After hitting the first Ascendancy point, we got this, you know, very strong Ascendancy, but doesn't synergize with Poison at all. And then I bought this sword, like I said I would, Tempestuous Steel. Sorry, I can't show it here, but it was a phenomenal choice. Definitely one of the best things I suggested, and I think I'm going to keep that sword in memory for any sort of melee stuff, because that thing performed like crazy, especially for an Ascendancy like this. I mean, who knows if we'll ever see this again, but anyway, it was really, really good. Took on the flat damage and did a lot with it, with 30% Elemental Pen on a level 25 Quiet Sword or something. But there were some issues still, because it's not like we had 100% crit chance yet. We still only had like 40% crit chance at that point. And so it was a little bit lackluster. So combining a few more passives, you know, getting all the crit stuff fleshed out by the second Ascendancy around, you know, Act 7, got Directionless, and that's when the build really took off. So if anybody's still way behind on this build, maybe don't switch out, you know, maybe just run Peaconk or something until you can get the first 2 Ascendancies, then it's super smooth. At least until you start dying, you know, in early, mid, and late maps, I would say. It wasn't just one particular spot in maps. Early reds were really brutal. A lot of deaths, you know, even with spell suppression, even with block, even with Arctic Armor. I left Arctic Armor for a while. I had a lot of damage reduction, you know, again on paper, but definitely the character kind of fell over. And one thing that I didn't like is, there's one thing I don't like about Frostblade, and unlike Lightning Strike, is that you actually have to hit an enemy in melee for it to do anything. I mean, you can't just, I can't like an emergency retreat and then like try to shoot projectiles out like you can with Lightning Strike. One more thing while I got you here, actually. I want to show something here that kind of got my attention earlier. We were talking about, you know, the great debate about Lightning Strike versus Frostblade. I don't know if this is unforeseen, but I want you to just see how fast, like you can see if I just one-click. This might explain why people love Frostblades over Lightning Strike in some cases, especially while mapping. You can see very clearly the attack speed when I do the stop and go. But look at this. This is with Lightning Strike. It is so much slower, so much more painful, because it's got like that double attack component. I don't know if this gets registered or not. I mean, sometimes it feels fine, but a lot of times it's like this very slow attack, and that really bugged the heck out of me. And I felt it right away, you know, when it mattered, like when my attack speed wasn't already amazing. Now, if your attack speed's incredible at the end of the game, it's fine. It doesn't really matter anyway. But certainly, as we're trying to, like, you know, get through the build. So just to quickly point out some of the things that kind of surprised me, or whether, you know, the gear was as expensive, more or less expensive than expected. The first one, the Shroud of the Lightless, was a lot more expensive than I thought, even on 2 Abyssal Jewels. I mean, I didn't really know the market that well, but I mean, it remained at like 5 or 6 div for a long time, and 4 div, even in like day 2. And everything else was getting cheap, but this sucker is still holding on. I don't know what it's at now, but definitely quite expensive. Not talking 3 Abyssal Jewels, just 2. It was very expensive, and definitely kind of blocked progression a little bit. I ended up getting every other piece first. I think I started with the gloves and boots, went to helmet next, and then belt, and then the chest. Finally at the end. Another thing that was a lot more expensive than expected was Corrupted Blood Immunity on a random Abyssal Jewel that isn't terrible otherwise. I still haven't gotten one. I decided instead to do this, and I did this like last league. I didn't talk to anyone about it, but this is definitely a very nice creative way to get Corrupted Blood Immunity. It also gives you Bleed Immunity. Now, it makes your flask not last very long, but if you're mapping and you're just blasting through the maps, it's fine. Like, this is up basically the full time anyway. And so this is a very good answer to that problem. I will eventually get Corrupted Blood Immunity, of course. Fury Valve, okay? Fury Valve was a lot cheaper than I expected. I got it way sooner. I thought it was like 18C or something early in day 1. It like peaked out at that, and I got my hands on it really early. So being able to do Directionless, the second Ascendancy with Fury Valve, like while still in the campaign, was utterly insane. That was really great. And this amulet is great with Frostblades for sure. Gratis Signet was a lot cheaper than I expected, but doesn't really have much value until you get the helmet, so I didn't really make good use of it. That's the one with the Unnerve and Intimidate, Swap, Spell, Attack. Paradoxica was also cheaper than I thought. I remember this sword, back when I played it in Tota, was like 6 div unveiled, or it's like 8 div, 10 div for a good one. Way cheaper than that this time around. So I guess it's very undesirable. As I mentioned in the build guide, it's off meta, so gear is going to be cheaper than expected. So that was a pleasant surprise. Abyssal jewels, I haven't really gone over them, but they were a lot cheaper than I expected. Here's all the Abyssal jewels, with the exception of Takrad. This was 2 div, so that one was more. But these just sort of random Abyssal jewels, able to get 4 modded, 5 sometimes 6 mods. Okay, I got a lot of them here. I think I'm just missing like 1, or missing 2. 1 on the gloves, and then 1 down here with a cluster, when I get a real cluster. That's all the jewels I have. If you pause there, you'll see those are some pretty good jewels. There's some real gems in there. So the market was just utterly saturated, just totally saturated, even on day 1, with all kinds of jewels. And so that worked out really, really well, and definitely one of the best things. I think there might have been some concern about, buying jewels, but with the tool, with that PoE tool that I mentioned in the guide, made it so much easier to get my hands on some really good jewels. And I'm still using it right now. I still got 1 tab that I've set up with the sum total and all that. It's got like 30 or 40 different lines of text on there. It works really nice. One more item that's cheaper than expected is Hateful Accuser. All right, that is the ring that I showcased on the boss. I still haven't gotten one because I haven't felt like I need it, and I'm not that interested in like spamming T17 content yet, because I think the idle system makes T16 way more interesting, and I'm still exploring stuff with that. But the Hateful Accuser was like dirt cheap. It's the one we have to kill a King of the Mist to get it. I couldn't believe how cheap it was. It's almost worth nothing right now. It's so freaking strong though. Like if you need help single target using that ring, really good. Items that were about expected in terms of price was Tempestuous Steel. Okay, it was like 1C easy, 1C easy at any point at League start. So I figured it would be really cheap. It was really cheap. Another item that was about where I expected was Militant Faith. That is this Timeless Jewel. Okay, day 1 they started showing up a little bit expensive, but then very quickly just crashed in the market. And some of these will brick what you need, but you can get percent. You have to get reduced elemental ailment duration to match it with the boots. But the other mod, I mean, I had mana cost reduction instead, just because that one that I had access to. Elemental res or percent damage, I think, are the 2 best mods otherwise. And then projectile speed tattoos were about what I expected. Not all that available day 1, but the moment day 2 came into play, you could buy them. I think it cost me like 8C a piece. Haven't checked in a while. It could be different. It could be less or more now. I'm about to buy 4 more. So as far as my playstyle and like the last little thing I got on the notes here for things that I did differently, like categorically differently than what I expected. 1, I got Fury Vow way earlier than I thought I would in the build. I got Shroud of the Lightless much later than I thought I would. I got Aspect of the Crab a lot later than I thought, and I just stuck with Arctic Armor and Herald of Ice. In fact, I'm still using, I'm not using Herald of Ice, sorry. I was using it, honestly, just hours ago, still using it. It is really good, but I don't really have enough, if you go through those jewels again, I don't really have enough flat fizz to warrant Herald of Purity yet, but we'll definitely get that in pretty soon. Corrupted Blood Immunity Flask was another one. I kind of already talked about it. Big change. Didn't expect that to need that. More stats on a ring instead of Gratis Signet. Kind of talked about that already, but really nice luxury. So I haven't even really used Gratis. I used it for a hot second, but then I realized I needed the stats more. Those all res Abyss jewels are really expensive. Ones that are any good. I guess everybody's after them. Another big one I haven't talked about yet is Whirling Blades. All right, so 2 things that are good about this. I didn't even realize you could use Whirling Blades with a sword until like later on. Finally just kind of stumbled onto it. You can use it with a sword. I thought it was just daggers and claws for a minute. And so this is really great luxury because it means I don't need to rely on shield charge, which combines your movement speed and attack speed. And honestly, my movement speed is not that impressive. It's really not. What does it say? Like 58% out of combat. Usually I'm running a build with like 100% out of combat, or 80 or 90 or maybe 100 at this point in progression. So this just looks at attack speed. Now my attack speed is good. Attack speed is really good. So this is fast. I believe this is faster than shield charge, more than likely. So it feels very nice. And it comes with the added benefit of making it so the build no longer requires strength. You could always de-level your shield charge anyway. but I've recommended strength here. Now I realized that with wrath I need int, so I'm going to be switching a ring soon from strength to int. Basically, I'm going to go for a similar ring with that instead, because I no longer need the strength and kind of need the int, and I had to work the int in harder ways. So that's a nice relief for the build actually. And then the last major thing is I thought for sure I would buy the Hateful Accuser, especially with it being much cheaper. That ring, I mean, I definitely didn't need it to unlock my Waystones. I did actually buy the carry because I don't really like the bosses, Elder, Maven, and Cirrus, and Shaper. I think I bought those kills. I did the what are they? The Citadels, the Enslaver, all that stuff. I did all that, but I do not yet have the final point unlocked because I haven't done the Feared. It seems it's kind of nice the way it's set up that in order to do this final round or whatever, you get very little reward for how much effort you got to put in to get that final favorited slot. And sure, it's nice to do if you want, but I don't really feel that compelled to do it. Well, let's spend the rest of the video talking about idle strategy and do a map showcase. Like a few final words, I guess. And I am currently doing some heisting. Not heisting, rather. I'm supplying the heisters. We have a great relationship right now. It so happens that many of the idle system, and I'll probably make a separate video on this in general, but many of the idols offer stats that basically existed in the Atlas, but only like one copy. And so you can get up to 4 copies of the same stat, seemingly the same roll range, in some cases even higher. And one crazy example of this is chance for blueprints to be fully revealed. I believe the Atlas only said 10% was the maximum number you could get. But now you can get 10 to 15 in 4 separate places. You can get 6x the chance. So I have a very, very high chance of blueprint fully revealed. I think 52%. And then you can combine this. I think the next best thing, which I don't have a single copy of this because I've failed to recombinate it, would be chance for additional smugglers' stashes, like 6 additional different ones. But it's actually not that insane to have on there. And so you can see mine are pretty good otherwise. I like the Searing Exarch stuff. I basically combined Exarch altar farming and heist farming, which is kind of a strat that I already do. And I'm not just doing it because it's old and it's good, but also because this strat with the blueprints doesn't really benefit that much from the 1 to 3 or 1 by 3 or 1 by 2 idols either. And neither does Searing Exarch stuff. So Searing Exarch gets more value out of the 2 by 2 with this mod here, with the chance to double the Eldritch Embers, even though it's not really that valuable. Actually, the most valuable one is on the small ones, and that's because it goes 4 to 6 increased pack size. And so that's what I'm doing right now. I'm loading those up maximum. And then it also synergizes with Blueprint because there's another mod that scales like stupid crazy that you can't get anywhere near this amount of, and it's Blueprint drop chance. I have almost 500%. So I think the number is 52% chance for it to be fully revealed and a 499% chance, increased chance, to drop blueprints from smuggler stashes. That's absolutely crazy, and you don't get anywhere near those stats. I get a fully revealed blueprint at least once a map on average. So you just think how insane that is. Now that does affect the market, but it's still something a lot of people don't know that much about, and it's something you do have to invest into. And that's the interesting thing about the current state of the game is you really do feel incentivized to do this extra gearing process. You don't just have to gear your character, you got to gear your Atlas, which is interesting, and I can understand why some people wouldn't like it very much. But it's really great for somebody like me who thrives on theory crafting and testing different currency earning strats. It's an absolute dream for me, and so I'm really beginning to feel the honeymoon phase of that. Just really enjoying that process. I've already got like another strat, at least one more strat in the back of my mind that I really want to try. All tier 16 stuff. So you can see I have scarabs in here, and honestly I haven't been using any scarabs for a long time, but I just unlocked the tier 17 last fragment slot. So I got Searing Exarch here, and let's look at the stats here. We can see I got a raw pack size mod, that's nice. Increased number of maps, so that's good. I, of course, have the unique one for Wrath of the Cosmos, that's very important. One that you might not think about for this strat is Ritual Altars. They're good because they increase the number of Eldritch Altars monster spawns. Beyond, I would like to have 100%, but don't quite have it there. There's the 2 most important numbers there with Smugglers, Caches, and Blueprints. Breach, Abyss, I don't care about that. Pack size, Searing Exarch, 71% increased pack size. That is a really big number, okay? That is, I mean, we used to have, you know, we used to have these keystones that gave us a lot of pack size for this. I'm not sure how that compares with that. This might be a little less in total, but it's got to be pretty close. I do have Huck as well when I open Smuggler's Cache, and I have it set up with level 15 Anger, so that's kind of nice. Really not that necessary anymore. One of the nice things about the idle system is that you can slam a bunch of other mechanics on. Now, the only ones really worth doing is Legion, so I did go ahead and put Smash and Grab in there. It's very nice to get that Warhorde. Absolutely worth doing one Legion for without only one investment. One single idle slot for investment is really nice. 3% increased effective explicit modifiers in your map. Super strong. And that, honestly, might even be a better idea than getting the extra Smuggler's Caches, all things considered. Need to have at least 100% chance to get a Smuggler's Cache somewhere. And chance for adjacent maps, alright. Cool. And then ping-ponging between Mesa and Colonet. I went ahead and scried this over. So this is really cool. And this is a strat. We'll probably come up with a strat video on this fairly soon. But the Mesa and Colonnade ping pong maps are really good because you can kill the boss quickly and then finish the map. And the bosses, even without chance to drop adjacent maps to the monsters, the bosses still have a very high chance. I had trouble maintaining my map sustain when I was just trying to spam Jungle Valley. So I started doing this and it's got really smart. So now both of these maps have the Fortunate card. And both of them drop the Fortress map, which is most valuable tier 17. That's a really nice setup. So that's why I'm doing Cartographer Scarab Multitude with Escalation. And I have Monstrous Lineage with Cloister. And Influencing Scarab of Hordes. I can't remember the total cost of this, but it's like, all things considered, I think with the map's, I mean, basically free. Over sustain them. Heist is 5 Chaos there, so I will get 3 Smuggler's Caches every map. It's like less than 30C in total per map invested. This is like 20C or something. 20 to 30. And I'm only using Scarabs on the really good maps. I may only be running 8-mod corrupted maps soon, but this is a really good map, so we'll run this one. And let's see how it goes. So I can always say I'm unlucky when I don't get a fully revealed, because I actually have a better chance than not fully revealed. I think the 3-3 fully reveal is like almost 40 chaos, and then the 4-4 is like 40 or more. The Stilling Orbs are still worth something, so that's a nice pickup. I don't actually do the rituals unless it's the nameless ritual. I've been crafting flasks. I level 84 flasks whenever they're good. So I've been crafting those and making quite a bit of currency on the side. And you can probably tell here that the Searing Exarch pack size is pretty impressive, all things considered. So again, I'm not actually running that fast, but because I got the charge, it's really nice. This strat's fairly good for gold farming too. Just kill so many monsters. It'd be nice if I had rarity on gear for that, because gold is kind of blocking me from like progress a little bit with the Recombinator and stuff. Really not a fan of having to build that city again. Freezing dangerous enemies. Beyond did spawn on here. Nico, no pact with energy or anything, but I really like Val Smite. It's so easy to keep up. It synergizes nicely with Frostblades in that I actually don't need to be in melee range for that to go off. It just kind of goes off anyway. Not the greatest loot. Let's see if we can get a fully reveal. Nope. Okay. This is a much worse than average map. The Beyond boss spawned at the end, so it's pretty easy. And you know he's pretty tanky, so that damage feels pretty good. Wait, did I get a single stack deck? Okay, there's something wrong with this map. The Cloister Scarab's not paying off at all here. Oh yeah, I got a Legion. I forgot about that. Legion lasts almost no time, but Frostblades needs almost no time to unlock a Legion. I just care about getting both Warhordes. I mean, that's pretty awesome, right? Like, being able to unlock a Legion almost in full, like in a couple seconds. Wait, the Chosen? Isn't... Oh my god. That card is so rare. What? It's one of the rarest cards in the game. I think. I mean, it has a kind of a different drop chance or whatever. Out of a breach hand, but yeah, still in the world. Okay. Alright, well, anyway, that's a map. It's done. Just quick and easy. Really fast, getting a lot of value out of those blueprints. I didn't drop a fully revealed one, but I did drop one, and it's not fully revealed. That's much worse than usual. I know that I have... I would estimate I have probably a 2/3 chance of getting a blueprint out of each smuggler's cache. And you can still drop one raw on the map too, so that's pretty awesome. We can still drop tier 17 maps. I didn't drop any, but maps drops aren't that crazy. I think I got pretty unlucky with map drops too, actually. And so, you know, I'm still evolving the strat. It's not necessarily the most efficient thing, but it's very difficult to set up a super strong strat, isn't it? With the whole idle system. I'm curious to see how you guys feel about the idle system. Let's actually just close the video there. That's basically all I got to say. We went over the build and kind of the growing pains about it, talked a little bit about how it went. Still very much enjoy it and getting a lot of satisfaction out of it in the end now that it's really smooth. And definitely, once you get the spell suppress locked in, the res, you get, you know, all the defensive layers like normal, you get the chest, and then you got like over 4k HP. Really start to perform. I'm thinking about dropping Blood Rage actually, because I'm just kind of wasting all that energy shield, which kind of sucks. I don't really have leech. I mean, I could get energy shield leech on a flask, I guess. Maybe I could replace it. I think that might even be what the build guide says. To get spell leech on the flask, I need to get that corrupted blood amulet or jewel first. All right, so yeah, that's it. Any comments you got about the strat, about the build? It's all welcome. But yeah, this is it for the build update as it goes now. Closing out day 4. I look forward to the future. This event's gonna be fun. Definitely gonna get a few weeks of enjoyment out of this. I don't know if it's gonna end in a month. Anyway, we'll play it by ear and expect some currency strats coming out pretty soon. All right, that'll be fun. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.